right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, benefit boost. Social Security checks going up. We verify if it's the largest increase ever.
Brisk breeze Friday, but not as gusty as what we saw today. The change is coming early next week that could bring many of us our first hard freeze.
But first tonight, a grandma carjacked in broad daylight near a high school.
It's scary and it's very sad that occurred, especially around school grounds.
What the suspects did to her grandson. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. Tonight, police are still looking for 3 of the 4 teens involved. The victim says one of them carjacked her at gunpoint while 3 other boys beat up her grandson. It happened outside Sumner High School yesterday afternoon. Our Robert Townsend is live outside St. Louis Police Headquarters with some reaction from parents. Robert.
Mike, the crimes against the grandmother and her grandson have left Sumner parents shaking their heads.
No crime's supposed to happen around school grounds.
But St. Louis police say Wednesday afternoon, a 65-year-old grandma and her 15-year-old grandson both became victims of crimes right after classes dismissed at Sumner High School. The woman told police she drove up to pick up her grandson from school when 4 teenagers approached him and started hitting her grandson. Within moments, the grandma said one of the teens pointed a gun at her. Police say when she jumped out of her car, the boy stole the woman's 2016 Ford Escape. The 3 other teens ran off.
I don't like to hear that at all.
Farron Bass's son is a freshman at the historic high school on Cottage Avenue.
I'm very disappointed to hear that, and that actually scares me.
Judy Calvin's son also attends the school.
I lived over here for about 25 years, and you know, you don't see that too much.
Police say the boys who attacked the teen and carjacked his grandmother range from 15 to 17 years old. A spokesperson for St. Louis Public Schools confirms the young victim is a Sumner student. It's not known if his attackers go to the school. Meantime, parents are relieved the grandmother wasn't hurt and her grandson will be okay. As for the teen criminals,
I just pray for them and hope they get in a better path.
Maybe if we come together as a community, things can change.
Again, tonight, police are still looking for 3 teens who were involved in those crimes. They tell me they have since found the grandmother's car. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
We're following breaking news tonight out of Raleigh, North Carolina. 5 people are dead, including an off-duty police officer, after a gunman opened fire in a residential neighborhood. At least 2 others were taken to the hospital, including another police officer. After an hours-long search, police found the suspected gunman at a home. He was taken into custody. Investigators say he's a juvenile. Tonight, the mayor of Raleigh addressed the violence.
We must stop this mindless violence in America. We must address gun violence. We have much to do, and tonight we have much to mourn.
Police have not released the identity of the suspected gunman yet, or his motive. A witness says he was dressed in camouflage and had a long-barrel shotgun. Tonight, community advocates are calling on you to join them in creating a safer St. Louis. Tomorrow kicks off a free 2-day anti-crime conference to brainstorm solutions. Our Brent Solomon is live downtown now with a closer look. Brent?
Mike, we all deserve safer streets. How to make that happen, though, may differ depending on who you ask. That's why local leaders want to bring everyone to the table, get your ideas, and see what sticks. When crime strikes, you hear about it.
I've been here my whole life.
And James Dickerson chooses to live downtown despite what he calls his reality.
You hear gunshots at night, pretty much every night. People fighting and shooting, windows being popped out, and all kinds of other things. Looking over your shoulder because you want to go and walk down the street and get something to eat.
The St. Louis native loves his city and doesn't plan to leave, but he wants to see criminals stopped in their tracks.
Who knows what to do?
It's why he's coming to this, the 2022 Elevate Conference, a free 2-day crime prevention event open to anyone who wants to see change.
What do we mean when we say elevate?
Elevate means that we can come together as a community.
It's the 4th year Marnay Morgan has organized this, and she says each year is a new opportunity to make things better.
Coming together is the first step. That's going to lead to conversation. That will lead to solutions.
It kicks off Friday at Harris-Stowe State from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m., featuring the mayor and public safety officials. Then on Saturday from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., a family fun day.
And if you can imagine it, we will have it there for you that day. Bounce houses, pony ride, the fire department is going to let up the real large ladder.
All to create community and conversation. After having a gun pointed at him in broad daylight this year, Dickerson welcomes changing the narrative.
I've done a lot of eulogies for people who have been victims of violence in this city.
I went ahead and placed all of the details for you about this 2-day event on KSDK.com. Live in downtown St. Louis tonight, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Tonight, KIPP High School in St. Louis is pausing in-person learning again due to security concerns on campus. It comes after another student brought a weapon to campus. It's the 3rd time it's happened this semester. The school says it plans to add metal detectors, extra security staff, and increased mental health support. We talk with a former teacher who just left the school because of the issues.
The same problems happening over and over again. I think people are feeling burnt out and frustrated. I think the frustration was lots of chaos and lack of organization.
Students will return to in-person classes the week of October 24th. Parents will be able to weigh in on the new security process through several virtual town hall sessions. Well, we are now less than 4 weeks away from Election Day, and today a Missouri judge dismissed a lawsuit attempting to fight the state's new voter ID law. This means come November 8th, you'll need a valid photo ID to vote. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski has reaction from both sides tonight. Laura?
Mike, the Missouri Secretary of State says he was pleased with the decision. On the other side, though, the NAACP and League of Women Voters were disappointed, saying the fight isn't over yet. The Missouri Voter Protection Coalition says Thursday's ruling by a Cole County judge to dismiss a lawsuit against the voter ID law was not a ruling on the constitutionality or legality of it.
It was simply procedural in nature. This case is not over by a long shot. And while we believe that the Cole County Circuit Court's procedural ruling is incorrect and out of step with prior precedent, the truth of the matter is that this case will move forward and will ultimately be decided by the Missouri Supreme Court.
Secretary of State John Ashcroft said in a statement, "I applaud and agree with the court's decision to dismiss this lawsuit since not even the plaintiffs could find a single individual who would be prevented from voting." NAACP President Adolphus Pruitt says an appeal to this decision is on the way.
There is so much empirical data and studies that show that voter ID does have an impact on people's ability to participate in the democratic process, and definitely it has an impact on underserved and minority communities to participate in the process.
One specific group of people this new law impacts is university students who can no longer vote with their school ID. St. Louis University is making sure their students are prepared.
We'll change our strategy a little bit to make sure they bring their passports, or that they know that they can vote provisionally if they don't have the Missouri ID.
In addition to a passport, these are the other acceptable forms of ID at the polls: a Missouri driver or non-driver's license, military ID or veteran's ID card, or another photo ID issued by the United States or state of Missouri. Now make sure whatever ID you bring is not expired. And if you don't have one, you can still vote on a provisional ballot. The signature will be matched to the one on your voter registration application. Mike.
Laura, thanks. Tonight, inflation in America is still running hot. New numbers from September were released this morning. It shows the consumer price index grew 8.2% year over year, the fastest pace since June. Housing, food, and fuel are the biggest drivers in increased costs. To keep up with inflation, Social Security recipients are getting a big bump in benefits. Today, it was announced monthly payments will go up 8.7% starting in January. On average, that's roughly $140 more per month. Social Security recipients normally get cost of living raises. Our Verify team looked into how this one stacks up against other increases. Here's Brandon Lewis.
Verify here with your Fast Fact. The Social Security Administration announced its annual cost of living adjustment is 8.7% for 2023. That got some people online wondering, is this one of the largest increases ever in Social Security benefits? These are our sources. In 1972, Congress passed a series of Social Security amendments, including one that gave recipients an automatic annual adjustment based on inflation. Since 1975, when the amendment took effect, the adjustment has ranged from nothing to more than 14% in 1980. This year's 8.7% increase is the fourth largest since the government began making annual cost of living adjustments. So, yes, this is one of the largest increases ever in Social Security benefits. The extra money will start appearing in the January check. With your Fast Fact, I'm Brandon Lewis.
What can we verify for you? Just send us an email to verify@ksdk.com. A young girl attacked by a pack of wild dogs.
I was upset. I was furious.
A mother claims the county told her to shoot the animals. Tonight, the I-Team is helping her get answers. Failing the exam. Tonight, the eye-opening new numbers on the struggle for students.
The leaves are falling and chilly change is on the way heading into next week. We may have an opportunity for our first hard freeze in many areas.
A symbolic move today by the January 6th committee. Members voted unanimously to subpoena former President Donald Trump. Before the vote, the committee released new evidence they say shows he privately acknowledged his election loss even as he publicly insisted he won. Former President Trump is unlikely to appear. The committee will likely be disbanded if Republicans take back the House in the midterms. A 7-year-old girl was playing in her front yard in North County when she says a pack of wild dogs came charging at her and bit her. And our I-Team found it's a bigger problem. Tonight, her mother tells Paula Vassan visits to the ER didn't have to happen and the county is responsible.
You got to write form. Good job.
Thank you. We're hiding her face to protect her privacy. She hasn't even told friends at school about the day that left her in fear.
Very scared.
The day that left her a prisoner in her own home because she's afraid to go outside.
I was running away from it and it bit me.
This is that day.
I was upset. I was furious.
Because her mother, Tessica Carradine, says she'd been begging St. Louis County Animal Care and Control, or ACC, for help.
I called them a good 3 or 4 times.
After seeing this pack of stray dogs on her Ring camera the week before.
No one has came, no one has returned my phone calls, anything.
Until it came to this. When county officials showed up at her home, she says the animal control officer told her that even with 6 dogs on her property, there was nothing he could do. And she says a police officer told her something she never expected.
So I'm like, well, what do you suggest? Since it's nothing you can do, what do you suggest? He told me to shoot the dog.
With your own gun?
With my own gun.
A St. Louis County police spokesperson says people should defend themselves if they're getting attacked. The ACC officer, Carradine says, agreed with the police officer's advice to shoot stray dogs herself. The I-Team obtained that ACC officer's official statement describing that day, which told a different story. He wrote, "I will never tell someone outright to shoot a dog."
I could have accidentally killed my daughter. I could have shot through the home of someone else.
Carradine believes the advice highlights how people in her community are being put at risk. Just 3 months ago, a man in St. Louis was killed after dogs attacked him.
And it just makes me cry because that could have been my daughter.
We pressed county officials for answers.
I want change. I want change. We pay taxes. We deserve that.
They told the I-Team on a phone call that the county's animal shelter is on what's called emergency status, meaning they're full. Right now, they can't respond to every call. They say they're prioritizing the most serious cases, like if someone's been bitten.
That makes no sense to me.
Because when an ACC officer finally showed up here, Carradine says he didn't take these dogs off the street. ACC tells us it's because the officer already had 2 dogs in his car and couldn't safely take in more. We asked why they didn't call for backup. Backup, they say, was too far away.
There are little kids that walk to school by themselves. What if one of these kids are mauled by dogs?
Carradine is frustrated.
And no one has returned my call to let me know the dogs have been taken in or what has happened, what's the result.
ACC tells us they're still working to find these dogs.
Then you write it in marker. Great.
Meaning they're still living in fear this will happen again.
An ACC spokesperson says oversight of the county animal shelter will switch before the end of the year to an area nonprofit called Animal Protective Association. They hope this will address a problem they just can't keep up with, an explosion in the number of stray dogs. It's often because owners abandon them. For resources on how you can help combat this problem and adopt, head to our website, ksdk.com.
Tonight, astonishing new numbers on education in America. The national average ACT scores for the high school class of 2022 dropped to its lowest level in more than 30 years. The average score came in at 19.8 out of 36. That's a half point lower than 2021, showing a decline during the pandemic. 42% met none of the benchmarks on the college admissions exam in English, reading, science, and math. A popular attraction in downtown St. Louis is celebrating its silver anniversary. A private celebration was held tonight to celebrate the City Museum's 25th year. The late artist Bob Casserly transformed an old 625,000 square foot warehouse into an eccentric playground for adults and children. The museum is planning a year-long celebration with several events. And if you're heading to the City Museum anytime early next week, it's going to be chilly.
It is. And, you know, it's one of those things where if you were up on the roof today with those gusty winds, you were really feeling it, right?
Right.
How about on that slide? Have you been on the slide, Mike, the kind of circular slide?
I haven't. My kids have.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I went on it with the kids. All right, here, we got to talk about the leaves. Look at this. Karen sent this in. She's part of our Weather Watcher Facebook group. This is out in Gray Summit at the Shaw Nature Reserve. Look at the color. We're really seeing a much more rapid progression in color than we traditionally see. But what we also saw today were some strong winds around the area, 35 to 45 mile per hour gusts, and a lot of those leaves started falling. Part of the reason I think we're going to lose a little more leaf foliage here and the leaves will drop faster than usual is because it's been so dry for much of the summer, mid to late summer, with the exception of the rain in August and July, those 2 days where we had the flash flooding. Other than those 2 big events, we're on the dry side, and we are now abnormally dry through the entire 5 on your side area. In some spots to the south and west, a little worse into the drought categories. Tomorrow, the breeze is back. It's still extremely dry air, so low relative humidity. You've got the dried grass and also all those leaves that have fallen. That's all dried out. There's not much moisture that's been around, so you still have that critical fire weather down to the south, now to the west of St. Louis. Metro areas of fire weather watch, but outdoor burning not recommended here tomorrow for sure. 51 degrees right now in St. Louis. Dew point's 29. That air very dry. 68 was our high. 48 was the low this morning. Those numbers will see more by the time we get into next week. I'll show you why in a minute. Overnight, we're dropping back into the 30s and low 40s. Most of us probably don't see a frost because there's still a bit of a breeze. 51 in St. Louis, low 40s as you get into the cloud cover going farther north of St. Louis. And the clouds and the moisture swinging around this big upper level system here over the Great Lakes. That is going to drop down our way, sending several surges of cooler air towards the St. Louis area. We'll start tomorrow with plenty of sunshine, mid-60s by lunchtime. Clouds increase towards the evening hours. Cold front comes through. It doesn't have a lot of cold air behind it, but it might kick off a spot sprinkle as we head towards football, the kickoff for your high school games on Friday night. Weekend's pretty good. Some late day clouds on Saturday. It's a bit breezy on Sunday, but we're in the mid to upper 60s. And as you look at this 10-day forecast, you say, okay, well, that was great. It's good. A few days are looking good here. Whoa, Monday, there's a cold front Sunday night going into Monday. We're only in the 50s for highs, and our low temperatures by Wednesday morning. Many of the outlying areas are back into the mid to upper 20s. We're thinking right around 32 degrees early on Wednesday morning. In the 20s, that's a hard freeze. It would be our first in many locations this year, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Well, Mike, there's a 7'3" basketball player that you may want to check out. We'll also hear from Coach Drink, Coach Ford, and there's a soccer team in town who refuses to lose.
If you have a tip for the 5 on Your Side I-Team, call us at 314-444-5231 or email 5onyourside@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential.
Eli Drinkwitz can talk, he can recruit, and I think he can devise a good game plan. But the only thing that matters is, can he win? 29 games at Mizzou, 13 victories. Now, they have been pretty competitive in all 3 SEC games. Remember, they led Georgia by 10 in the 4th quarter. So I talked to Coach Drink today, and you can't deny his passion.
Man, I don't think there's any way in the world you come and watch that Georgia game, and if you're from the university, if you're from Missouri, you don't say, I want to be on that stage. I want to be in that stadium. I want to have an opportunity to be the difference in us winning and losing that game. And that's what we got. We got an opportunity.
Game 2, Astros and Mariners, the 2 greatest Astros ever, Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. Yordan Alvarez had the game-winning homer yesterday and again today. A 2-run shot in the 6th, and the Astros lead the series 2-0 after a 4-2 victory. It was probably the worst game in NFL history as the Bears hosted the Commanders. The Bears tried to win it late, but Darnell Mooney can't quite make the play in the dying moments. Washington wins 12-7. SLU women's soccer at home tonight facing Rhode Island. The Billikens are ranked 10th in the nation and have just a few games left before the postseason arrives. Great play, Caroline Kelly to Abby Miller for the goal. SLU wins it 6-0. That is 12 in a row. So the Atlantic 10 media did some preseason voting today, and they kind of like the basketball Billikens. 4 members were named to the preseason all-conference teams, and the Billikens were picked to finish 2nd behind Dayton. Gonna be a great year for SLU. The Billikens wear this bracelet every day, win the day. Have a great practice, win the day. I can't see the flaw in this team. This guy, Francis Okoro, gets better every week. He was a double-double machine late. Then there's Fred Thatch, one of the best 6 men in the Atlantic 10. And Gibson Jimerson may be the best shooter on the squad. Coach, tell me about coaching all these veterans this season.
What I've tried to do with our veteran guys, because they're old. I mean, these dudes are old. I mean, every one of them have a nagging injury. I mean, it's unbelievable. But what we try to do is I'm trying to limit their competition. I'm trying to limit their competition in practice to about an hour a day, but do not ever take away their individual work, their extra work. That's where they need it. They do know a lot of the plays.
Coach Ford will be spending some time at Vianney High School this year, and here's why. The Golden Griffins have a 7'3" import from Sudan. Simon Guy is a former soccer player who made the right decision and moved to basketball. He's only been playing for 5 months, but he's making great strides.
Only focusing on 2 things, that's basketball and education.
The bigger picture is beyond basketball. It's an opportunity for him to impact his life and his family, and then he's also made a huge impact on our school. His classmates love him, the teachers adore him. He's making a difference in our school, and that's beyond basketball. So it's been a really neat relationship so far.
How hard are you going to work at this to improve your skills?
Extremely too hard, and I'm starting like right now.
I love it. Can you imagine being that tall and just loving the game and just getting better and better every time he walks on the court?
Some colleges are going to be after him.
Oh, my goodness. It's going to be crazy there one day.
All right. Thanks, Frank. Well, the Blues are putting their opponents in the doghouse this season. How it's a win for support dogs. Netflix will launch its new streaming service with advertising next month. It's seen as a move to win back subscribers. The service will cost you $7 a month. That's $1 less than Hulu and $3 cheaper than HBO Max's ad-supported tier. Well, we're in the throes of pumpkin spice season, but get a whiff of this. A new survey finds it might be falling out of favor. An Illinois coffee business found only 26% of people surveyed preferred pumpkin spice over other flavors. And a live look now at Enterprise Center, where the Blues will open the season Saturday night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. This year, a big change, ice level. The visiting team's penalty box has been renamed the Purina Doghouse. Every time the Blues go on the power play at home, Purina will donate $100 to local support dog and training programs. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next, and Trevor Noah, who's leaving The Daily Show, is Jimmy's guest. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.